All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the absolutely absurd true story of how England literally lost the World Cup trophy. And not on the pitch. We are talking about losing the actual physical trophy just 4 months before they were set to host the 1966 tournament. Just imagine the sheer unadulterated panic going on behind closed doors. Seriously, how do you lose the World Cup? I mean, we're talking about one of world football's most prized possessions here. A symbol of global supremacy that is heavily guarded, widely revered, and it just vanishes without a single trace. It honestly sounds like the plot of a terrible Hollywood heist movie. But as we're going to see, the reality of this was actually way stranger. Part 1, the ultimate football prize. Now remember, this wasn't just some shiny piece of metal. This was an artifact with a massive legacy. We're talking about the original Jules Rimet Trophy, named after the FIFA president who helped create the tournament itself. It was a 35-centimeter tall, solid gold statue depicting Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, holding up this gorgeous octagonal cup. It was stunning, it was priceless, and it was totally steeped in legend. To really grasp the stakes here, you have to realize this trophy was a survivor. It was first awarded in 1930, right? Then, during World War II, an Italian football official reportedly hid this exact trophy in a shoebox under his bed just to keep it out of the hands of Nazi forces. So it literally survived a world war, tucked away in a bedroom. By the time it arrived in peacetime England for the 1966 tournament, you'd think its most dangerous days were well behind it, right? Well, moving on to part 2, a brazen Sunday heist. Okay, so picture this. It's the weeks leading up to the tournament and tension is running high. And the contrast we see here is just hilarious and, frankly, completely baffling. On one hand, you have the world's most prestigious sports trophy, a literal golden goddess. On the other hand, you have its venue, a stamp collecting show, specifically the Stampex exhibition at Westminster Central Hall in London. Sure, the trophy was the main attraction, but it was sitting in a simple glass cabinet. The security? Just a few guards and the building's regular old locks. By any modern measure, it was shockingly minimal security for a priceless global artifact. Which sets the stage perfectly for Sunday, March 20th, 1966. The exhibition is closed for the day, and a thief, or maybe a group of thieves, we still don't know for sure, simply breaks in through a rear door. According to the police reports, getting past the building's locks and breaching that display case wasn't even particularly hard. They grabbed the World Cup, snatched a collection of valuable stamps for good measure, and slipped right out. By Monday morning, the staff walks in to find an empty glass case. The news broke, and boom, it's an instant national scandal. Which brings us to part 3, the ransom and the sting. You can only imagine the absolute chaos over at Scotland Yard. They had to act immediately, especially when a totally terrifying ransom note arrived just a few days later. Joe Mears, he was the chairman of Chelsea Football Club and held a position with the Football Association, he receives a package. The demand is crystal clear. Pay £15,000 or the trophy will be melted down. And just to prove they weren't bluffing, the thieves actually ripped out a piece of the trophy's lining and included it in the package as undeniable proof. The clock was officially ticking. So the police knew they had to act fast, right? Let's walk through the high-stakes sting operations Scotland Yard threw together. Step 1, they arrange a meetup with the extortionist, who's going by the name Jackson. Step 2, the plan is to hand over the ransom money in exchange for the exact location of the hidden trophy. Step 3, spring the trap and arrest the guy. It was a classic police sting, perfectly planned out on paper. And hey, it actually seemed to work. They snagged a suspect named Edward Betchley during the operation. But cue the massive, devastating twist. Betchley was just a middleman. He didn't even have the trophy on him. He claimed he was just acting on behalf of someone else, someone the police were never actually able to identify. Betchley gets convicted of demanding money with menaces, but as for the authorities, they were left totally empty-handed. The trail went completely ice cold, just weeks before the tournament was supposed to start. All right, part 4, Pickles saves the day. So the police are completely baffled, the Football Association is in total despair, and it feels like all hope is lost. But history decided it didn't need a brilliant detective. Meanwhile, down in South London, totally disconnected from this massive, frantic police investigation, a guy named David Corbett is just going about his life. He leaves his house one evening to take his dog for a walk, and his dog happens to be a black and white mixed breed named Pickles. Just an ordinary guy and his ordinary, completely oblivious dog out for a stroll down a residential street. As they walk past a parked car, Pickles does what dogs do best. He gets intensely fixated on a random bush in a front garden. He starts sniffing like crazy at this mysterious package shoved way under the hedge, wrapped tightly in newspaper. Corbett, probably just wanting to get on with his walk, goes over to see what's up. He unwraps the newspaper, sees this heavy metal object, and immediately recognizes it from the frantic front page news coverage. In an incredibly, delightfully anticlimactic moment, a dog out for his evening bathroom break had just accidentally sniffed out the missing Jules Rimet Trophy.
And that leads us to our final chapter, Part 5, An Unsolved Legacy.
Guys, it is literally impossible to overstate the sigh of relief that swept across the entire country. Corbett found that trophy a mere week before the World Cup was set to kick off. He rushes it to the police, they verify it's the real deal, and it is safely returned to FIFA officials. But let's be honest, the real star of the show was Pickles. He became an overnight sensation. He was literally named Dog of the Year. He reportedly starred in a film, and the best part? After England actually went on to win the 1966 World Cup on home soil that summer, Pickles was invited to attend the official celebration banquet. A dog, dining with the world champions, all because he liked the smell of a specific London hedge. But, there is this incredibly dark irony when you look at the full timeline. 1930, the Jules Rimet Trophy is created. 1966, it gets stolen in London, but miraculously, it's recovered by a dog. Now, skip ahead to 1983. Because the original London thieves were never definitively caught, that case technically remains unsolved today. But in 1983, the trophy was stolen again, this time in Brazil. And tragically, during that heist, there was no Pickles around to save the day. That copy was never recovered, and sadly, all the evidence suggests the original Jules Rimet Trophy was melted down for its gold. It really makes you step back and think about the wildly fragile nature of history, doesn't it? I mean, what if Pickles hadn't wanted to sniff that specific bush? For one whole week in 1966, the most important trophy in world football sat completely unguarded under a random hedge, and the entire fate of the tournament rested on the nose of a mixed-breed dog. Thanks for checking out this explainer, and be sure to stick around for more mind-bending true stories.